Alright, welcome to part 5 of creating your own self-hosted Node application with 3DVista Tours. So, in the last part I've been showing you how to create this interface where you can list the tables and all that stuff so that you have the task of created by the user and assigned to the user showing up, creating this button to check a task to be completed. Now let's just clean up a few things a little bit, like creating some basic stuff like creating a logout button and stuff like that. And right after that I would like to show you to create the comments system so that you can, on a node that is already created, so when we do view node, that you can comment and say, hey, I like this a lot, or I'm on it, or something like that, and that you can discuss about the things in here. So let's get to it. First of all, when we preview this right now, let's see what we currently have. And we'll just log in and see where we are right now. And right now, one of the things is when you scroll, you're seeing this scrolling effect. That's not so nice to have. It'd be better probably to have just some buttons here. And when you're just scrolling, that you can just scroll the page instead. That is a very small setting in 3DVista project. There is enable mouse wheel for zoom. You can just uncheck this, and when you publish this and re-upload, you'll see that this works much better. I always recommend doing that. And if you do want to have the scrolling, then as you can see over here, using this, and I'm putting small shortcuts to say, okay, you can use A and Z on your keyboard to zoom in and out. So I think that makes more sense than your mouse wheel. Small detail. Other than that, let's see, when we go through here, we see that the test node that is completed is showing up all the way on the top. I would like to order this, that the tasks that are done, to put them on the bottom of the list, so that we always keep the focus on what we still need to do. Or you could completely filter them out, but I'm going to order them. So I'll say on this, on over here, and right now we're viewing as anonymous, and you can see everything is kind of like mixed up. So data created by user, we'll add sort, additional sort, task completed. And yeah, we'll do the unchecked first and then to check. Let's hit save. And we see that right now these tasks will go to the bottom of the list. Nice. We'll do that quickly with the other one too. Sort. Task completed, save. And we got that now as well. Now when we're logged in as Ronald, for example, we'll also see that my nodes that are put to the bottom. Slight details. Now I would like to have a button that says log out. So I can put over here. I think best practice is to just create a container over here and probably a multi-header page, which is making more sense than a single columns thing. With columns, you can put multiple elements within one thing, but with the multi-page header, you can create one menu that you can reuse on the home page as well as on the node page, as well as on other pages you might make in the future. So I'll do this one. Then over here, I'll say a button. I'll say login. And this is always going to go to the home page. Open page, home page. Because on the home page, when you're logged out, you'll see the login screen. That means that we can delete this one that we created before here. Wouldn't be needed, because when people get to this page, they'll see the login button and then they can click there. So, and we'll say visibility only for logged out visitors. Okay, login. Let's go over here. Add one more button called it logout. And this is going to be visible for logged in visitors. And saying add action log out. Now these are beneath each other, not next to each other. I think I need to still use the columns and put this button in here. I don't know if I can copy paste. No, I cannot. So I'll quickly redo this again. Right. Okay, I can move it here. Okay, and let's preview this. So now we see login button, and when we go to /node5, we'll also see the login button. So this way, the back to home button can also be removed. Okay. Just cleaning up the things a little bit here. Okay, log in. And then over here I can select. And now I'm logged in, but I'm not seeing the header anymore. Let me see, log out. By accident, I selected the whole header to be only for logged out visitors. That shouldn't be there. It should be only this button with logged in visitors. So let's preview again. Yeah, now we can also see the logout button. That's great. And we automatically see the screen again. Cool. Yeah, I will still add in this button to go back to home, or a link. I think a link makes more sense. It's very basic. Okay. So that you can always go back to the home page. Cool. That's the small stuff. Let's make sure that the first bracket has something to show that it doesn't give this error. I'll just copy in a deep link from another page over here so that it actually shows something. Now when we go to view notes, by default we'll always see something. That looks better. Okay. Cool. Now let's create the comment section. So to have the comment section, we need to have a different table in the backend for comments. So we'll go over here, create new table, call it comments. And the comments need to be linked to the node. So I'm gonna create this linked relationship with the node, and I'll say create. Now another thing is I'll say okay, the red cables and the Willem tests number 6 is gonna be there. So let's put that there. And what I'll do is I'll say I want to know who's commenting. So make another linked table, and I'll say commented by. And here I'll say users and create. So I'll say this one is commented by Ronald and this one by Will. Now, one small thing I'll add to it as well is to show when a comment is created. So by default, base row has a field called created on, and I'll just use this one, just rename it a little bit, whatever style you like to use. I'm going to go for European date format with a time and hit create. Now you can see this is created on 1451, that's 2 minutes ago. So that's correct. And we can do the same over here. This created on in users and nodes as well. So that might come in handy later on. Here as well, we can add the time too. And with the nodes, we can do that too. And now we can exactly see on what date and time the nodes were created. Later on, we can add certain formatting to it that we can say, well, this has been a node created today, or a node created yesterday, or last week. Make all these things relative. That is possible. It's quite advanced, probably not for this episode, but I wanted to just let you know that that is all possible. For now, let's go back to the commands. We got the command, we got it linked to a node, we got it with a user who's commenting, and we got the created timestamp. We can also see that there's a row ID. So 1 and 2, this is the row ID, row identifier of the commands. Just like there's a row identifier of the users, 1, 2, 3, and with the nodes, 1, 2, 3, go up to 11. Okay, so we're going to the view node page, and over here we will add in a new data source, and we will say add new data source. List multiple rows, list commands, and I'll say create this, and this time we're going for the commands. And here we can, well, let's first save it and make it show. So below this mark as done button, I'll add another one. For now, I'm going to create columns. It's a little trick in base row so that you don't need to do the visibility for each new element all the time. Everything you create within the columns will then automatically be having the same visibility as the column itself. That's just a little thing. So I'll just put this to one column. Over here, I'll say, first the visibility logged in visitors. Now everything I put in here will be for logged in visitors. So it's a bit easier to manage. Table. And now I want to say list commands. Okay, great. So we got this now listed up. We got this timestamp. It's not formatted, but we can do that later on too. But now what we want is to make sure that, let's see, this is on red cable. So let's go to red cables, that's 5. So this command should only show when you're looking at red cables. So we need to add some extra logic to the filters. So we'll go over here, list commands, add a filter, and say where nodes with this blue thing has, and I'm going to guess a little bit, parameter. Let's see if it works. Ah, yeah, it works. Great. Let me double check that. So I know that on node 6 we had the other one. Yes. So now the nodes are listed for the commands are listed specific based on the nodes that they're in. That's nice. So now what we need to do is we need to add a mechanism to add a command to this thing. So for that, we will add in another item here. We'll go for form. And in this form, what I'll say is data input. Let's check the elements here. So we have columns, okay. List comments, that's this thing. Then we have the form, and within the form we have data input. Then data input, I'll say the placeholder command on this node. Okay. It's required because I don't want an empty node to be able to submit. I just want everything always to be filled out then. Yeah. I'm not going to do any validation. It is a multi-line. I want to have it a bit bigger. So maybe add 5, a bit bigger field. And let's see, submit button. I want this to say send command. Reset to default values after submission. Yes, let's just check that. Okay, now this is just creating a form, but we're not saying, okay, what do you need to do once the form is submitted? So we'll need to add this command. We'll need to add this to the database. So over here, when we submit this form, it needs to add whatever the text that we're putting in here, put that in here, add the current node that we're at. So in this case, the Willem test node, and add in the user that is currently there. And the created on will automatically be created. So let's get to that. What we can do is we can say events on submit. We can say add action. Then we can say create a row. So we'll say create a row, integration, local base row, nodes backend, comments. Now over here, we need to say a form data, comment on this node. This is exactly what will be filled in by the user. So next up is that we say, okay, the command is there, but we need to connect the node that we're currently at and make sure that that is linked as well. So I'll say from the get node, I need to get the ID. And comment by, I'll do current user, and then I think I can do both username and ID. I might be wrong in that. I'm going to go for ID. That's usually the safest option. And I'm just going to test it out and see if it all works. So let's go. To red cables. Second command. Let's see what happens. Send command. And it is added over here. That's great. We don't see it happening over here. Let's refresh what's happening when we do this. I'll probably need to log in again because this is the preview environment, but if it's actually exported and hosted, it's different. And now we can also see over here that we have now 2 commands in here. So also the second command, which is really nice. Let's see if we can do something nicer about this, that it will show up right away. So I'll go over here to the, in the form, we're still here, add action. And I'm going to say refresh data source. And I'll say list commands. So once this is submitted, I want this to be refreshed. Okay, I'm going to send. And you'll see that now it automatically adds the third command to the list, which is really nice. We got it over here. It is linking the node. It is linking the user to it. When we go back and we open up another node, creating the quick node, test, hit command, and we see now it's linking the creating a quick node command to it. It's showing up over here. So only the relevant commands under each command are showing up because we are linking all the stuff nicely together. Nice. let's make this look a little nicer with the created on, so that we have some formatting over here. And we don't need to show the note because we're already in the note, so we can hide this field over here. So over here, I'll say this notes, this can be away. Command the by is useful, I think, but maybe we need to rename this a little bit for the users. And the created on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, there's no formatting inside here. We need to format the date in the backend. But good thing is I already made something like that. So let's go to the command over here. I'm going to change this a little bit to command created on. And that is because I've created a formula which looks very complicated and took me a lot of time to figure this out, but I'll just paste this in here. And this is doing a lot of logic for that. And I'll call this comment created on nicely. All right, so I've been working on this quite a lot. It's a bit complicated to explain this in this video, but I've created here one formula that is counting, like checking how many days ago the command is created. And then over here I have the logic, like if it's today, then show today, and if it's yesterday, show yesterday, and otherwise the date or something like that. But yeah, you can try looking into this, or just copy paste it and just make it work. Yeah, it's like today or yesterday, and otherwise show the day with the month and the time with the time zones and stuff like that. Right now I'll just hit save and you'll see, okay, we got a nice formatted way of showing the command, and that is what we'll be using. So I'll just hide this one, go back over here, and in this created on, I'll say created time, and here I'll change data source to something else. I'll probably need to refresh this, so created time, value, and now we have comment created on nice, which is exactly this one. Fill this in, and now we have a nice formatted time showing up over here. And of course, I mean, if you're from the United States, you can do with AM and PM and all that stuff. So show it up however you want it to have. And you can ask AI to create these formulas for you. Okay, so we got this set up now. Let's check it out. Let's go to orange cables, open this one up. You can see the cables, and now we can add a command. Orange cables are almost done. Just need 10 more minutes. Send command. And now we got this command over here. That's great. It shows with a nice time over here. And when I add a second one, let's make sure that the order of this is all in place too. Yes, it shows up at the bottom. If you, maybe it makes more sense to add it to the top. But yeah, then you can basically just go in here, go to data, list commands, and change the sorting over here. So you can say, well, comment created on, and then you can change that logic. So let's hit save. Oh yeah, now we got this, the first command on the bottom, but we still need it to be otherwise, so we need to change this list commands sorts and do this. And now we got the most recent commands on top, which makes, I think, more sense. That's how you solve that part. All right, so we got pretty far now. We got the commenting section all set up and done. In the next episode, I'll show you how to do this for multiple tours, so that you only need to add in the link of one of your tours that you're doing, and that users can select the tours that are relevant to them. Maybe add in some logic with what kind of missions based on the group they can see which tours. And in the episode after that, I'm going to talk about exporting this and hosting this on your own domain. So keep watching and see you in the next video.